guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be eating some Fettuccine Alfredo, and I am going to be trying for the first time ever Coca Cola Spiced Zero Sugar Soda. I'm pretty excited. I heard good things about it. So, because you guys seem to enjoy my spaghetti video, I decided to do Fettuccine Alfredo this time. So I'm going to eat a few bites, try a few sips, and then I'm going to get started with a little bit of chit chat. So please take a moment to see if you are subscribed to the channel. If you enjoy videos like this, please leave it a like and a comment, and check out my playlist. I have an Eat With Me playlist which has tons of videos like this. Okay, so first let me try the pasta. I have a feeling this is going to be messier than the spaghetti. So far, so good. I'm wearing this really shiny lip gloss and lip liner that I just got from Kylie. Check out the video I made on that if you haven't seen it. Take another bite, and then I'm gonna try the soda. Okay, so I was smart enough to lift the tab a little bit because no matter what, if I am wearing fake nails, I cannot lift these tabs. I don't know how anyone does it. Okay, now supposedly this is raspberry flavored, and when they say spiced, I'm thinking it's gonna be like if you've ever had spiced gumdrops, like that. Not like spicy peppers. No, not like that at all. Okay, so let's see. Okay, I taste the raspberry, definitely. As far as it being spiced, I don't know. I'm not getting any kind of a spice, you know? It just tastes like raspberry flavored cola, which is good enough. No complaints. And I am using a coaster so that I don't damage my new table. Okay, let's have some more pasta. And yes, I did break the noodles. For everyone who hates when people break the noodles, you know who you are. I broke them one time so they'd fit in the pot. Okay, and also so I wouldn't be, swirling them around my fork 20 times. Okay, one more bite. guess it was like 26 seconds ago somebody posted about an earthquake on Long Island. So, I texted my friend, "Did you just feel an earthquake?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "What is up?" I'm like, "Is it the apocalypse? Like, why are we having an earthquake now like this?" But meanwhile, a couple minutes later, it was all over social media, like huge, and the Facebook groups that I'm talking about, they were all over it. And Instagram and everything, you know. And the news channels would not shut up about it. I mean, I'm glad there was no other, like, worse news. Like, for that, I am glad, you know. But it was like, okay, like, enough, we get it, alright? They're just, like, reporting and reporting and reporting. And, like, the governor spoke on it, like, she gave a special speech, and she said, "We're gonna make sure, check all the infrastructures, great, do that." And the mayor was due to talk, and they said it went from as far as Maine to Baltimore. And the president felt it because he was in Baltimore. So yeah, that was the big excitement of yesterday here. But luckily, as far as I know, nobody got hurt. And no buildings were damaged. I saw some videos with, like, items falling off of shelves and things. But that was about the extent of it. Nothing fell in my house at all. Apparently the center of the earthquake was in New Jersey somewhere. So if you experienced this earthquake, let me know what you thought. Now, another interesting thing. One day last week, we had two workmen in the house. Sounds like I always have workmen. It feels like it sometimes, but it was the refrigerator repair guy. We need him here like once every other year, and luckily we have the warranty on our fridge because every 2 years it breaks down with the same problem. And each guy comes in and says, "Oh, the last guy must have not did this. I'm gonna fix it right this time." Every time they say that. This is the fourth guy. But anyway, we're not here to talk about the refrigerator. And he just came and ordered what he needs and he'll be back. But anyway, there was him. And you may have heard me tell about us getting a new AC system. Well, the guy had to come back to fix something regarding that. So both of those guys were here on the same day, alright? And that was fine until both of them left and I realized that I had a very, very embarrassing postcard sitting propped up on the kitchen table, and they both would have seen it. So, my daughter was in Italy very recently with school, and she brought back this postcard for my husband as a gag gift kind of thing. Have you heard of the statue, David? Okay. Well, if you know, you know. It's a very famous statue, and this postcard wasn't the whole statue, it was just the certain part of David, if you can imagine. Like a close-up. And it had a pair of sunglasses on it, and what it basically looked like to me was like, have you ever seen the Camel from, like, Camel cigarettes? Years ago. It looked like that. I'm not gonna get into it too much. I would show it to you, but some people might not want to see it. And this is a family channel. So anyway, and it was like greetings from Florence or something. was reading about this hotly debated topic. It turns out there was this cruise ship. Now, I don't know exactly where it was going or where it started, but it was one of the big name cruise ships. And they had docked for the day in an African island. I also don't know the name of the island. You know, a nice, scenic, warm, beachy type of island, I think. And you know, they give you the day, you go out, you do whatever. Usually always these ships offer excursions where you can pay extra, a lot extra, for them to take you to do a certain thing, you know, on that island. Or you can go out and do your own thing. Or you can find excursions and pay for them privately, which is cheaper than doing it through the cruise line. So, I think it was 8 people, not related, but just 8 people had decided to do this little, outing with a private company. And they needed to be back on the ship by 3 o'clock. Now, if you're on an excursion that is sponsored by the cruise, if anything happens and you're running late, they will wait for you, of course. But other than that, you need to be back at 3 or tough luck, right? So this 8 people, they were running late for whatever reason, and the company that was running their activity supposedly called the ship and let them know, we're running late. You know, please wait, we'll be back, you know, blah, 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 whatever. So they got back to the ship and it was still there in the water, you know, docked. But I guess, like, they had closed the doors and it was past 3 o'clock. And they were like, we are not letting you back on. Sorry. Now these people are just out there with, you know, they didn't have their stuff. Their stuff is on the ship. But their passports, like, I don't know how, but the cruise staff got these people's passports. Like, how? And brought it out to them. Somehow it was delivered to them. Here's your passports. Bye. These people even got some kind of a boat to drive them up to the doors of the ship. Like, it was doable. It's not like it was an impossible task. But the ship was just like, no, you cannot get back on. You are late, and that is it. We are leaving. You can meet us at the next port, which was wherever, I don't know how you're gonna get there. It's not right. It really isn't. Now, I think that the cruise line, after all this drama and debate, has decided to like reimburse these people for whatever it cost them over those couple of days, but they're not admitting any kind of like wrongdoing. I mean, yeah, they didn't do anything wrong legally, but just be a person, you know? Not to mention, you just ruined their whole vacation. Like, I'm sure they spent a lot of money for this cruise. And they were probably having a really good time. And they probably would have gone home and said, this cruise line is awesome. And they probably would have taken more cruises, okay? But now, I'm sure they are left with a horrible, horrible feeling. Terrible resentment against this cruise line. Will they cruise again with another cruise line? Probably. But I just think it's a lot of bad publicity, and I don't get it. It's just not right. What do you think? There will probably be people on both sides, you know, in this audience. Personally, I love cruises, and a big part of it is that the people on board the ships are always very, very nice. They are there to make you have a good time because that is what you came for. And by being so ridiculously inflexible, they have gone out of their way to ruin these people's vacation entirely. I'm thinking, like, what if these people had medications or something like that in their room? Like, how is that not something to think about? Like it said, their belongings were left on the ship with the exception of their passports.